Approach women. Don't worry about being judged. Today we're going to talk about how to overcome the fear of approaching women, specifically if you're not doing it or if you're letting yourself off the hook, not taking action, not going towards what you want, approaching the people that you want to meet and going closer and closer to your goals because of the fear of judgment. So today we're going to take care of this once and for all, hopefully. Okay. We're going to talk about the two fears that prevent you from approaching women. And we're going to do a little bit of a cost-benefit analysis. If you're a corporate, you're going to love this. And we are going to give you a couple of mindsets to beat that fear, to repel it, to banish it from whence it came. Okay. So let's start by kind of recognizing what the reason is that you might not be approaching a woman. In fact, let's picture this. You are minding your own business, walking on the sidewalk, listening to a Linkin Park on your Walkman, and you see a hot girl approaching, just opposite to you, kind of like coming at you. And that ruins your day. Which is kind of funny because cute girl is a positive thing. How are you letting it ruin your day? It ruins your day because deep down you know that there's something you're supposed to be doing right now. There's something choking you, metaphorically, in your throat. There's something that makes you feel under pressure and guilty. And it's not feeling like a creep per se. It is the fact that you know you should be approaching her, you should go, you want it. The deep down you really want to go and say hello and create a connection. And the entire lineage of all your ancestors in your head is commanding you to do that in that very moment. And you're turning a blind eye to that command. So all this evolutionary pressure piles up and girl comes at you and you feel incredibly bad. You feel like you should be doing something, you're not doing it. Which is the truth. There's multiple reasons why, but one of the reasons is that you fear judgment. And there's two types of judgment that might occur if you approach a woman. And it makes sense that you fear it. I'm not saying that you're crazy for fearing it, but it is something you can absolutely overcome. I have overcome it in my life. The people that I work with have overcome it, most of them. Some of them are still working on overcoming it. I'm confident that they will. If you want to work with me, link in description. And it is something that like countless people have done. And I stand before you today and I can tell you that there is no social situation that will induce fear in me. Like if I want to approach a woman to get to know her, there is nothing that will stop me. There is no invisible wall that will prevent me from making that connection, or at least attempting to make that connection, because it's not, some girls are taken. Some girls are just not in the mood to be spoken to. That's fine too. But for my part, I guarantee you, I am now able to do everything that I can to make it happen. And it wasn't always the case. There was a time where I was terrified. So, you're scared of being judged by her, and you're scared of being judged by other people. That's the two fears that are preventing you. The two fears of judgment that are preventing you from making that connection, from making that approach. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to do a little bit of a cost-benefit analysis. What are the detrimental things that might happen if you approach a woman? The first thing is that it might be very cringe. You might feel very ashamed. You might feel like you want to to bury yourself in the street and die. And the fact is that cringe kills about 3% of the world's population every year. Cue sad music. The thing is, okay, yeah, cringe is not going to kill you, but it does feel terrible. It's one of the things that is, I guess it's kind of primal. And when we were back in the tribal days, if we were kind of like ostracized from the tribe because we were cringe, we ran the risk of death. And so we don't want to be shamed. We want to avoid that at all costs. However, we do live in modern times where if you're cringe, nothing will actually happen. It's a fear. I understand it. You don't want this to occur. I get it. But at the same time, it doesn't matter if it does. Like, if it does, it's not going to kill you. A few moments later, it's past and it's gone forever. And the fact is, cool, man. Like, when's the last time you were cringe and people saw you and what happened? Like, do you even remember? Did it really impact your life in any way? The other thing that might happen if you approach someone and it doesn't go well is you might develop beef with somebody. Like, you might have an enemy. But again, unless you're like really, really asking for it, which honestly I wouldn't recommend. But it's also kind of like very hard to do. Like, you really have to be in the bad neighborhood, doing the wrong things and messing with the wrong people to, to create a beef that actually impacts your life. Most of the beef that will occur, if it does, which is very rare, by the way, but if it does, most of the beef that occurs if you're approaching someone in the street, it's just like someone is gonna look you the wrong way, who you will never see in your life again. So even if beef develops in that moment, you have made an enemy for 5 minutes, and maybe that enemy is going to forget you exist a couple hours later. And if you're that memorable that they still remember you, fuck it, man. That's kind of like a cool thing about you. Okay, so I think that's the entire extent of the drawbacks, like the things that might happen if it goes wrong. If you approach a girl and goes wrong, the negative things that might take place. Okay, so now let's look at the benefits. The first benefit is the obvious, that if it goes well, you might get the girl. You might create a connection, get a girlfriend, connect with somebody amazing, share lives, share experiences. Down the line, you get married to that girl. That might actually happen from an approach, say, on the street, in the daytime. My last girlfriend of 4 years, I was together with because I looked to my right at a traffic light, and there she is standing, and it's a hot girl. And I'm like, hi, you're hot. And that's kind of like what I said. Not even kind of like, that's exactly verbatim what I said to her. Those were my first words. And it's not beyond the realm of possibility that you can get a girlfriend because you went on a stroll. It has happened to a lot of people, me included. So that's the first benefit. You might actually get the girl. Second benefit is you get another data point. You get the experience. You get the well-deserved XP that's going to give you growth. That's going to move you towards your target. It's going to get you closer to your goal. If your goal is to get an amazing fucking girl, your personal 10 out of 10, making an approach is going to put another little brick in the bridge that will get you there. So with every move that you make, with every approach that you make, you learn one more thing. Even if it goes wrong, you've learned something. You've learned something new. Okay. The third thing that's an amazing benefit is flow. The more you do, especially if you minimize the time that you stay idle, if you are always, if you're out on a walk and you want to be social and you want to meet women, even if it's out on the street, it doesn't even have to be like a club or like a social venue or event. It could be the fucking street. Even if you're there, if you don't waste a lot of time looking for the girl and instead find yourself in conversation after conversation after conversation with minimizing the time between these conversations. Like one conversation ends, maybe you get her number or maybe you get rejected. Immediately you go and like look for somebody else to compliment, somebody else to create a connection with. 30 seconds later, you find yourself in the next conversation. The more you do that, you find that if you gain that momentum, which at first it's kind of like difficult to hack into, to get running, but the more you do it, the more you stay active, the more you keep chipping away at it, you see like at some point the momentum starts carrying you and everything you say hits better. Every phrase, every joke you make is good, your timing is on point. That is amazing. So even if the approach itself goes wrong, you've already gained something crazy from it, like gaining momentum, so that you invested in a couple of failed approaches, but your third, fourth approach, because of them, gets to be amazing. And the girl gets to like you. And you take her on a date. Okay. And the fourth thing, that's a great benefit, is your actual self-esteem. You're doing the hard thing. You're overcoming your fears. You're doing the thing that is rare, that not a lot of men do. By the way, you don't have a lot of competition in this game if you do it like that, right? So because you're doing the hard thing, your self-esteem goes up. The way that you carry yourself goes up, improves. Even your posture will improve because of that. The tonality of your voice will improve. And if you keep doing these things, you'll have a better opinion of yourself. And that is one of the most important things in creating relationships with women. Okay, so with that said, if we compare the drawbacks to the benefits, we see that the benefits heavily outweigh the drawbacks. It's very obvious, isn't it? The drawbacks is like nothing. And I challenge you to find something else that's negative about it. Sure, the cringe is like sometimes unbearable, but yeah, with like reps, you start to kind of like breeze through it. It's not a big deal. Again, like if I go up to a girl right now on the street and talk to her and it doesn't go well, and like there's a lot of people looking at me and it's kind of like weird and like I came off weird and uncalibrated, I'm going to brush it off. I'm like, okay, that was kind of funny, admit it. And then I'm going to go on to my next task of the day, or if I want to approach somebody else, to the next person I want to approach. Okay. So far, I hope that I have you convinced to do the right thing. But let's do a little bit of, let's analyze a little bit more. Because especially if you're nerdy, which I am, you're going to really appreciate that. And this is the principle of the least costly mistake. We see this in nature, which is, why are we scared of like the dark bushes? Why are we scared of the dark? Why are we scared of heights? Why are we scared of snakes? Because in nature, there was one mistake that was of graver consequence than the other mistake. So, say you can walk the short path, but it has to go through the dark bushes. Or you can walk the long path, and the long path is not as, it's like an open field, right? The problem with the short path is that there might be a snake hidden in the bushes. Okay, stay with me here because it all makes sense. Now, there are two mistakes that you can make. The mistake that you can make is either going through the bushes and there's a snake there, or going the long way and there was no snake in the bushes. Get it? The other two choices, because there's 4 choices, the other 2 are correct. It's like you went the long way and there was in fact a snake in the bushes, or you went through the bushes and there was no snake. The thing is, in nature, we nature tends to reward the least costly mistake, which here is to go the long way, because that is the better mistake to make out of the two mistakes, if that makes sense. So think about it like that. We have a matrix which comprises of either doing the approach or not doing the approach, and either the approach going well or not going well. So if you make a matrix out of these four elements, then you have four possible outcomes. So either you make the approach and it goes well, or you make the approach and it doesn't go well, or you don't make the approach and it was gonna go well, or you don't make the approach and it wouldn't have gone well. So the mistakes here are you don't make the approach but it would have gone well if you had made it. And the other mistake is you make the approach but it didn't go well. Which one of the mistakes, knowing everything you know right now about the cost benefit analysis and like about how the benefits outweigh the drawbacks, which mistake would you prefer? Isn't it obvious that you want to make the mistake of like erring on the side of winning? Like make the approach and it might not go well. That's the better mistake to make, because if you make the approach, there is so much more to gain. So with that said, I'm going to give you an attitude now. I'm going to give you an attitude towards both spectators and the girl that you're approaching, so that you have a weapon in your arsenal to be able to fend off whatever excuses your mind gives you and whatever obstacles the environment presents to you. So, the first thing we're going to touch on is the other people. The first thing I want you to do when it comes to others is ignore them. Because the mindset here is this: you are focused on your mission. You're talking to the girl and you are captivated by her. And this is the only thing that exists for you and her in that moment in the universe. Like everything else is blacked out. And you have tunnel vision. That is literally the fucking mindset here. The visual. Yeah. I know that when you're talking to a girl, when you approach a girl, especially if it's kind of like a quiet area with a lot of people watching, it's the unusual thing to do, which will cause a lot of eyeballs to immediately dart onto you. That puts a lot of pressure on you. However, if there's a lot of pressure, but you can handle it, the girl will appreciate that. So like if you're talking to her, like, and everybody's watching, but you know how to handle yourself, which in this case, if nobody gets in the way, it is to completely ignore everyone else, the girl's going to appreciate the shit out of it. And also, I want you to also have this general mindset. That is very important for me, okay? The mindset of the winner is we are focused on the mission, we got tunnel vision, and everything that's irrelevant gets ignored. Why? Because we cannot afford to leak energy. I'll say that again. You cannot afford to leak your energy, to let it bleed onto irrelevant factors. If there's people looking at you, but they're not influencing you, they're not trying to stop you from what you're doing, who gives a shit? Completely ignore them and stay focused on the mission, which is get to know the girl, get her digits, take her out on a date right then and there, create a good impression, create a connection, a relationship. Give her some good energy. Give another person like a great compliment that's genuine. Okay. Now that's one. But also, because since you're letting your fear win and you're not talking to girls and you're getting all paranoid, I'm going to tell you exactly what you'll do on the off chance that somebody does get in the way, which is something that would happen maybe 1 in like a million times. Okay. If somebody jumps out of the bushes to try and defend the girl's honor, of course, somebody that's irrelevant, right? Because it's like, if it's with her, if it's somebody that's from her party, from her group, that makes sense. Like, you can address them and make friends with that person as well. But if it's somebody who is irrelevant, somebody who is completely just like self-righteous and thinks they're trying to do the right thing, which, by the way, they're thinking that, but deep down, the reason why they're doing it is because they're jealous of what you're doing and are secretly hoping that doing the right thing is going to win them the favor of the girl. Like, it's going to make the girl look at them in a positive light. But of course, they wouldn't admit it. But if they tried to defend their honor and the girl's honor, quote unquote, and stop you from approaching her, the stranger danger, you're gonna simply say, hey, this is between me and her. Like, why are you relevant here? This has nothing to do with you. And I want you to do it in a dominant way, which, by the way, made a video about dominance. You might want to check it out after this video. And in a way that shows, or not shows, but of course it shows it, but in a way that shows that you have control anyway. Because control is fucking super attractive to women. And it's also very necessary in this situation because you're a dangerous motherfucker, okay? Like, in the sense that you get what you want. And you want to create a connection, and a real, genuine connection with that girl. And somebody who's less wise than you cannot get in the way because they don't know who you are. And they cannot be part of this. And they are not a part of this. So you simply say, this is between me and her. This has nothing to do with you. And move on. Okay, and to that, they can't really defend themselves because it is true. This has nothing to do with them. Like, there's no defense for that. So that's what happens when you want to address kind of like being cringe, other people observing you, getting themselves in the way, or like addressing basically the fear of like what other people have to say when you're approaching a girl. Now, the judgment of the girl herself is also kind of important. Okay. Which is, I'll give you two mindsets here and they'll carry you through. The first one is that you know exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it. You're not here to fuck around. You're here to create connections. You're here to meet a girl. You are here to improve yourself, to improve your social skills, to share good vibes with everybody. And this is not something that's illegal. This is not something that's bad. This is something that's incredibly positive. This is the only thing that's creepier than that is not doing that. Right? So you can understand and express that you have nothing to apologize for. You're doing the right thing. And in fact, if you're doing it right, most girls claim that they love it. Most girls wish that somebody approaches them on the street in the right way and creates a connection, a real connection with them. Girls hate social media. Girls hate dating apps. It's fucking obvious. So know that you're doing the right thing. Know that you have nothing to apologize for if your intentions are pure. And even if you want to just get laid, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of girls also just want to get laid. Just find them and create a connection with them and put it out there. Put it out in the universe. Not necessarily what I recommend, but to each one their own. Okay. And last but not least, you can also have the buyer analogy. Kind of understand that, yes, you might be the one who's approaching, but you're only approaching to investigate further because you saw somebody who you found interesting, you found beautiful, attractive, you found maybe they had a good energy or a good presence. But that's not enough for you to make your final choice. It's not enough for you to know if you want to be with them or not. This is just like their foot in the door. So it's kind of like you're going to Best Buy and you want to buy a TV. Of course, you're going to go up to every TV yourself. It's not like the TVs are going to come to you. But the money is still in your pocket. You'll only dish it out when you find the one that you're truly interested in, when you select the one that you want. So in that way, you're not gonna feel like you're some kind of like beggar going up to every girl and trying to get her digits. In that way, you're holding your, you know, your value back, and you have your boundaries, and you're honestly going to see who is a good fit for your life, for you. So with that said, I think this mindset fixes everything. If you still don't want to approach girls because you fear judgment, you are insane after this video. But you can work with me if you want to correct this. So link in the description below. Like video, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.